Hello and happy Saturday from Radically Rational and RadicallyRational.com. Doc! Don't let that boomerang hit you in the head. I'm talking about the boomerang that the Supreme Court flung Friday night. This was going to loop around the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals and head right back to the Supremes, and the stakes could hardly be higher. The central issue is just women's basic right to health care. But there are other things to think about as well. American women, for a half century, had a right to a safe and legal abortion until Roe was overturned last June. If you recall, at the time, the majority insisted that it was not trying to impose a national abortion ban, but was just returning the question back to the several states. And that proved to be disingenuous, because how else would you interpret this cherry-picked, fire-breathing judge in Amarillo, Texas, trying to restrict access to a key abortion drug? And the stipulation there, if you look at it, it was in fact a backdoor in-run attempt to impose a national abortion ban. So, judges lying? Who would have thought about that? And think about the premise behind that decision, okay? We have a judge deciding he's going to ban this drug because he's challenging the FDA's approval process from more than 2 decades ago. I'd like to see his medical degree, for one thing. But do we really want judges, cherry-picked judges, or really judges of any stripe, effectively making national health and scientific policy? Do we want that? Do we want that precedent? And think about the chilling effect that would inevitably have on development of future wonder drugs that could treat all kinds of maladies and illnesses and benefit Americans. Do we really want to halt that process? Think about it. Unplanned consequences? Now, I thought this was interesting. In the announcement last night, the decision that was announced last night, we know of only 2 dissenters, Alito and Thomas, and only Alito put his name on it and put pen to paper. That means at least one member of the court's fire-breathing evangelical amen corner, along with probably Chief Justice Roberts, had to vote in the majority, and I can't help but wonder if this was just a cynical attempt to fade a little heat by a court that right now knows it has a major PR problem. But we'll find out when this boomerang returns to the Supremes. NFL's got a problem, and I'm concerned. This is not funny. I'm talking about the news that broke yesterday that 5 NFL players, 4 of them from the Detroit Lions, have been suspended for gambling, and that in a couple of cases it involved gambling on NFL games, although not games involving the teams of the people who were doing the gambling. This is a concern for sure. And this is not the first time we've seen this in the last couple of weeks, or just think about this, dating back to Calvin Ridley last year. If anything happens to undermine fans' faith in the legitimacy of these games, the whole thing is going to come down. And this is all because of the NFL's insatiable greed. Insatiable greed. The NFL itself has contributed to this problem by cozying up to the gambling industry for the last few years, because in fact their greed is insatiable. All right, picking up CeeDee Lamb's 5th-year option, that was a no-brainer for the Cowboys. Now let's see if they can work out a long-term deal. And did you realize this? Look at the numbers. CeeDee Lamb has the best numbers, the best stats for the first 3 years of his career with the Cowboys of any receiver with that team since Bob Hayes. This dude is the truth. Now, we'll have to see what happens here. If they get a deal worked out with CD, what then happens with Trevon Diggs? And the Cowboys may have to slap the franchise tag on him prior to the 2024 season. But I continue to say that the Cowboys have done a very nice job in this offseason. All right, so Doc Rivers, by the way, I love Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers' little girl and my little girl used to play with each other, and it was fun. Doc's a good guy. Well, he says the NBA must address the issue of goading of star players, both on the court and in the headlines. I respectfully disagree. I think we got that one backwards. NBA star players must address their hypersensitivity to being goaded. Grow the hell up. A heartfelt thanks to our buddy, the amazing, the multi-state and national award-winning print columnist, Kerry Clack. We thank him because the subject of his Sunday column in the Express News is radically rational. It's available in the Sunday paper, but if you want to get a quicker look at it, you can see it at mysa.com. Again, thanks to Kerry for doing what he always does, and that is get it exactly right. That was an accurate characterization of what we're all about. We are radically rational.